All right, so all praise to Yahweh in the name of his son, Yahweh Shai, in the name of the Holy Spirit. Double honors to my elders, apostles, and the bishops of Great Millstone, otherwise known as GMS, also known as the prophets of doom. These are where I have learned this truth, and these are where I am still learning this truth, and also shalom to the remnant and the elect of Israel. Lord willing, I'm of that number. Okay, so today, this video, Lord willing, will be a short video. All right, I just want to speak to the point of something that frustrates, not even frustrates as in we don't expect this, okay, but frustrates as in, you know, just like I had to do, you have to learn to listen and learn, okay, in the truth. All right, it says to come into this as a child. Let me find that really quick. Oh man, can't think of that verse. All right, give me a second. I just want to find this verse. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Let's start here in Matthew 18 and we'll start at 1. All right, Matthew 18 and 1, it says, "At the same time came the disciples unto Yahushua, saying, Who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? And Yahushua called a little child unto him, and set him in the midst of them, and said, Verily I say unto you, except ye be converted, and become as little children, ye shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven." It goes on to say, "Whosoever therefore shall humble himself as this little child, the same is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. And whoso shall receive one such little child in my name, receiveth me." Okay, so up here it said, "Except ye be converted and become as little children." So in this truth, you have to put away the things that you've learned in this world. Okay, and that sounds easy, but it doesn't seem to be as easy as it sounds, right? Especially when you start understanding this thing. And the more you learn, the more you see people do not put away the things that they've learned. All right, the same thing. Even if they do put away the things that they've learned, they treat this truth, uh, this doctrine, um, to the point to where that worldly pride will still creep up in them. Okay, and they can't be taught anymore. Okay, they don't want to. In Matthew 18:4 it says, "Whosoever therefore shall humble himself." All right, so they'll unlearn the things that they learned in this world, and not exactly humble themselves. And we'll get into why this video is being made, why I bring this up. But become as little children. All right, just like one of my teachers said, and I can't remember exactly which one, but when it comes to children learning, they are excited to learn, eager to learn. All right, and even after discipline, all right, they get back to respecting, revering, still having a healthy fear of their parents. Okay, they go right back to loving their father after discipline. Okay, but they are eager to learn and grow. All right, and this is what it means as when it says, "And become as little children." Okay, except ye be converted and become as little children. And then even in the next verse, it speaks to that. "Whosoever therefore shall humble himself as this little child, the same is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven." All right, and keep in mind this fifth verse, "And whoso shall receive one such little child in my name receiveth me." Okay, so to the point of this video, all right, and I'm not putting GMS on a pedestal. All right, if that is to be done, the Lord is going to do this. But what I'm going to say is that if you listen to doctrine, again, we've spoke about, okay, even Jacob and Esau being twins, okay, um, and there's such thing as fraternal twins, but even identical twins. If you were to walk up the street and you see a couple of twins got the same bop, same style, speak, okay, in the same cadence, all right, they even finish each other's sentences, and we're talking about identical twins now, all right, but got the same hairstyles, just identical, okay. If you get to know each twin, all right, being different, all right, they look alike, they speak alike and everything, but these are different people, okay. You won't know the difference until you get to know them, and as you get to know them, you will find out, or it'll change your perspective of these twins. They won't look as much, they won't look as similar as they did when you first seen them, all right, because you begin to start knowing these people, okay. So people need to treat this doctrine that way, all right. The Lord separates whom are his from whom are not his. You cannot, and I'm speaking to Israelites, all right, we know what the world is going to do. We know how they're going to categorize us and group us into one group. But for you Israelites who are humbling yourselves, becoming as little children, all right, being converted, and this truth, okay, which has been hidden but is now starting to come to light, all right, and I don't mean today, I mean in our lifetime, all right. You need to not treat this like the world does, all right. They like to group us all into one group and just call us the same, all right. Or you take on the other doctrines of the world where you think it's going to be peace between everyone who calls themselves the Israelite, okay. These are things that are not going to happen, and if you don't pay attention to doctrine, and you treat this doctrine as the world treats this doctrine, all right, you're not going to understand the Lord's doctrine. You're not going to be able to separate, all right. You're not going to be able to rightly divide the word of truth. All you're stuck on is that word Israelite, and you just go with what Israelites say. All right, you stop paying attention to the point that you find out that they're Israelite. Then it doesn't matter what they say. All right, you stop there. Okay, that's not how this is supposed to go. You're supposed to constantly grow in this. Okay? So what I mean by frustrating is we know that these things are going to happen in these last days. Let me find this other one. All right, let me read this really quick. The heading of 2 Timothy chapter 3 reads, "Difficult times will come." All right. So let me read. I guess I'll start at 1, although the point is in 13. Okay. So it reads, "This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come." I thought this was going to be a super quick video, but hey, let's go into some of these words. What does it mean, perilous?
Strong's G 5467. Chalipas. Chalipas.
All right, harsh, fierce, savage. Okay, through the idea of reducing the strength. Difficult, right? Dangerous. Okay, difficult and dangerous times are going to come in these last times, all right? In these last days. Okay, verse 2. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy. All right, our spiritual parents in this time is the Lord. First and foremost, Yahweh. Okay, Yahweh Shai, all the way down through the men. You can consider them your fathers. Whoever came into this truth, 100% truth before you, you can consider them your fathers in spirit. This truth is known as is likened to a woman, so you can consider this truth your mother. Okay. All right. So disobedient to parents. All right. Unthankful, unholy. People will leave this world behind as far as the teachings, but then they'll start carrying in some of these habits. All right. Lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters. All right. They covet or they want or let me get this word really quick. Crave. All right. The what this truth brings you as far as fame, okay, fortune even, all right, and you'll go after that because you want to be the one, as Israelites do in the world, all right. You just want to be the one, okay, in whatever category, all right. Lovers of their own selves. You only want to, or you want to put off the world, but then you want to give in to being a lover of yourself over the truth. So, and we'll get to the point. All right. Boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, and unholy. I'm going to read down and we'll get to the point. 2 Timothy 3:3. Without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good. All right. Those that tell the truth. All right. For the truth's sake. All right. Tell the truth for the sake of telling the truth. For the sake of knowing that there is only one doctrine. All right. People despise the ones who have found this and hold fast to it. All right. Because again, they are lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, so on and so forth. All right. Verse 4 says, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasure more than lovers of Yahweh Bohoshem Yahweh Shai, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. From such turn away. All right, we're being warned of these type of people. Now we're going to get into the point because I haven't even mentioned that. It says, "For of this sort." Well, no. Let me address the point now. All right. So what I mean by frustrating is not, or vexing. It doesn't mean that the Lord didn't tell us to expect these things, as we read here. And this is just one chapter, right? The Lord warns of how disobedient, um, uh, impudent, sottish, okay, we have been as a people. And throughout time, right, it gets worse and worse and worse. Okay? Man, it made me think of another verse, but I don't want to get off point. But I'm not going to go. I'll just keep to the point really quick. So let me get to the point. It is that, and I've probably said that 100 times, but, so even being new, all right, when on this channel, I always used to start the videos by saying sincere, all right, using that word. But people can be sincerely wrong. They can have sincere demons. But if you are truly sincere, or if you are not sincere, right, that is easily seen. It's easy. Right? It's easy to see when you are sincerely wrong. As far as we know what these other groups teach that go off from doctrine. All right, and the thing I'm bringing up here is GMS. All right, the water Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai for guiding me towards the men of the Lord, the true men of the Lord. They have defended this gospel uh, uh, in season, out of season, as the scriptures tell you to do. Okay, they have provided answers for every sincere question, even every insincere question. Okay, they have answered it enough to where you can't. Luke 21:15. All right, neither your enemies. Let me see. Let me get that really quick. I will go there. For I will give you a mouth and wisdom which all your adversaries shall not be able to gainsay nor resist. Now, they have done this with insincere and sincere questions. Okay, you may have came in with a sincere question that the adversary put in your head, all right, either to block you, all right, not to say that you were a demon, all right, but we've been lied to for so long. All these things that we don't know the answer to, all right, were things that we had to overcome. Through the spirit and power of Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. All right, so I'm not saying that you were purposefully an adversary, but a lot of these things that we think we know, okay, our adversaries put these thoughts there. Okay, so with every question, whether it be sincere or insincere, GMS has answered most of the main questions. They've answered all of the main questions, but I don't know everything. Okay, so maybe I haven't heard every question. All right, but I can tell you that every question that I have heard, they have answered. All right, every question that I have asked, they have answered, and I mean through guidance. Right, they'll give you the answer. They won't leave it there. They want you to know the answer, so they'll tell you to go look. Okay, other people will tell you that they have the answer, tell you the answer, and tell you to go no further. That is the answer. And that's dangerous in these crucial times. These are the last days that we just read that in that verse. All right. These are the perilous times. All right. It's only going to get more and more dangerous. All right. So the thing is, you shouldn't be, if you are sincere, your search, hey, even with physicians, you go get a second opinion. All right. Even with physicians, you go get a second opinion, second, third, maybe. All right. But a lot of people are taking this world's word for what it's worth, which is shit. It's not, this world's word is worth nothing, man. Okay, it's never had your best interests at heart, ever. Otherwise, you would know this truth. Okay? Now, these other groups, these other Israelite groups, All right, you can tell that they are a part of these people that we just described here. Hold on, I didn't mean for that to start up like that. That we just described here in 2 Timothy 3 and 2, 2 and 3. All right, for men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy. All right, because all you have to do is do a simple search. So what I'm saying is, if you have not learned this truth from GMS, and I'm talking to Israelites and people of the world, you cannot say, and I mean, if you haven't heard the truth from GMS and people with the same doctrine, okay, you cannot say that you understand what Hebrew Israelites doctrine is, which it isn't our doctrine, it's the Lord's doctrine. It's ours through the Lord, but it is our Father's doctrine. All right, but if you have not listened to GMS, you haven't went to go look because you've been turned off by these groups that talk against GMS, but then don't give you an answer, or their doctrine changes. As much as they change their draws, damn near. And I'm being funny there, but it changes enough to where you should know that they are on shaky ground, and we are in the last days. All right, we are in these perilous times again. All right, the Lord, if you are outside of this and you are in a group that changes their doctrine, all right, the Lord is going to catch you like a thief in the night. All right, you're not going to be one that is well rooted. All right, you're just along for the ride because you're not going to go look at for these answers. You're not researching them up. All you're doing is riding along with what your man's is saying. Okay, that's all you're doing. Now, you cannot be just along for the ride. You have to apply yourself to this. You have to apply this to your life. All right. So for people that are Israelites and people that are outside of being Israelites, people of the world, you cannot say that you understand what the doctrine of the Hebrew Israelites are. Now, there's been a lot of videos, and there's been a lot of videos where the teachers are giving an example. And I mean, there's videos where they take snippets of what people say. But more recently, there's been videos where they let the video play out, all right, showing exactly what people mean. All right, then they tell you that they understand what the Hebrew Israelites doctrine is, but they're way off. They say that we preach colorism. All right, GMS doesn't teach any colorism. All right, this is not a black thing. Okay, you can't tell who an Israelite is by looking at them. I've never heard GMS say this. All right, I've never heard this. As a matter of fact, they tell you what they tell, and everything that they tell you is in the scriptures. Go to Deuteronomy 28 and 64, I believe. I didn't know any of this, and the Lord didn't make it to where I would have to sift through different groups. All right, the Lord made it to where I had to go through life a certain way, but when this truth came to me, I didn't have to sift through different groups. He put the men that I believe are the men of the Lord right in front of me first, and this is where I've been. Lord willing, I endure, and my teachers endure. All right, Lord willing. Okay. So I don't know what it's like to have to fight through being in another group. All right, having to sort through, Lord knows how many incomplete truths there are, or incomplete think I don't know what it's like to have to search through or filter through a doctrine that's way off, all right, and be under the craftiness of some other group, and then try to make it out. You had to make it out of the world. You jumped into one of these other groups outside of GMS, and then to try to fight that and make it out of that again. All right, it is going to take the Lord waking you up, all right, making you and having you realize, to see and hear, having eyes to see, ears to hear, you know, guide you to study, to read, all right, to prove all things, hold fast to that which is good. All right, it's going to take the power of the Lord to get you up out of that. But uh, these people don't have the truth. All right, they don't have the truth. Now, going back to colorism, Deuteronomy 28:64, and the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. This is one of the first scriptures that I taught, man. That I was taught. And what this is telling you is that we were scattered among all people. So Israelites look like all people. Okay? They look like all people. Now, would someone that is all about colorism tell you this? Would they tell you? Let's get another one. Oops. Let's get another one. Jeremiah 12:9. Now, I didn't know any of this. I didn't know any of this. All right? The water Yahweh Baal Hashem Yahweh Shai again. All right? Because I was never deserved of this, neither am I now. Okay? But this is all going the way that the Lord wants it to go. All right? So he deems it necessary for me to know this now. To what end? I hope it's to the end of, I hope my latter end is greater than my beginning. Okay? So Jeremiah 12:9, mine heritage is unto me as a speckled bird. The birds around about are against her. Her who? Right? His heritage. Come ye, assemble, all the beasts of the field come to devour. Just like it read back there in Deuteronomy, that we would be scattered amongst all nations. All right? Mine heritage is unto me as a speckled bird. What is a speckled bird the color of? Let's just go in here and look at this word for speckled. Here's the word for it.
Strong's H 6641. Savoué. Savoué.
Colored, variegated, speckled. Okay? Different colors. We were scattered into all nations. That means all nations. So Israelites are going to come in the form, or what I mean by coming in the form of, they're going to look like all nations. So despite what color you are, all right, you could be an Israelite. Now, even with that being said, no, it's not a colorism thing, but color plays a very big part in this. Why? Because we were deceived by the picture of the Messiah. I don't have to explain what that is. Everyone knows what the world view of the Messiah looks like. All right? And there are similarities between that and the Last Supper. Don't these two pictures look the same as far as if you're talking about color? Then you have a mural called the Finger of God. Now, don't all three of those things look the same when it comes to talking about color? None of those things match. Okay, if you go into the description of the Lord, all right, it doesn't match that image. It doesn't match that picture. So if that's false, which it is false, you can look at the Last Supper and you know, well, damn, if they lied about that image of the Messiah, all right, if he actually is, and he is, all right, he is actually a so-called black man, all right, from the tribe of Judah, all right. So if he looks which he does look like a so-called black man, then that picture of it, the Lord and the 12 disciples, okay, that doesn't look like that. Because then people didn't look like that. The Messiah doesn't look like that, and neither did his disciples. So color does play a part in this. We were deceived. And when I say we, I'm talking about the whole world has been deceived. Some know the truth. All right, you have the elite of Esau, you have the elect of the Lord. All right, the two main characters in this whole story. We know the truth. All of us do. They have to know the truth to lie about it. And we have to know the truth to tell you, and to tell you to go open this book through the spirit and power of Yahweh to go see the truth for yourself. But unless you are as a child, remember, eager to learn, go and look up these things. All right. So although it's not a colorism thing, it's not about color. Color does play a very important part. All right. Now, who lied to you? Okay. Who lied to you? We do not say that all so-called white people are Edomites, but Esau Edom is the so-called white man. You have to be able to see the difference in that, man. You have to be able to see the difference in what we're saying. And to balance that out also, all melanated people are not Israelites. So if you are hearing anything outside of what we just spoke about here, you don't know the Hebrew Israelite doctrine. If you call us black Hebrew Israelites, you don't know the Hebrew doctrine. All right. You don't know the Hebrew Israelites doctrine. You don't know the 100% truth. That's another stumbling block that people get offended on. Okay. I know that GMS has 100% truth. Does that mean we're all not learning anymore because we know it all? No. As a new child in this, all right, a youngin, I know that within this body of GMS, I can go anywhere and ask anything, and I will get the truth from any part of this body. I don't have to go outside of this, man. Okay? I know this. That's what having 100% truth is. Now, how does this hold up to other groups? Other groups will join with somebody that teaches opposite of them just for numbers. Just for numbers. Just to look like they have numbers. That's it. That's when they stop being, that's when they stop caring about what the truth is, and they want the world to see them a certain way. It's not about having the world be impressed with your numbers, man. You must have forgot why you were called into this. We haven't even got all the way. Let me read this first part of 2 Timothy again. 2 Timothy chapter 3. I'm going to start at verse 1 again. Again, the heading being difficult times will come. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy. All right, you start learning the truth and you want to go off and make your own doctrine. All right, that is being unthankful, man. Then you want to buck up against the truth because it's not getting you followers like a worldly lie against you, or looking like you have a lot of numbers. It's not benefiting you, okay, anymore to tell the truth. All right. 2 Timothy 3:3, without natural affection, truce breakers without natural affection. All right, you didn't really get into this for the love of the Lord. All right, it turns out that you are in this because you love yourself more than the truth. That's why you don't tell it. Although it's been explained to you over and over, all right, men are here guiding you to the truth. All right, but you want your own thing. You want to seek out your own glory. You want to be crowned on this earth. before the Lord does it. You want to set your own crown on your head while the world watches. You forgot why you came into this. You didn't have natural affection, natural love for the Lord. It was all because you love yourself, and the Lord had you come into this truth to bring that out. All right, money, whether you are around people who have it or whether you're the one who has it yourself, all right, it has a way of bringing out who someone is. Okay, and the spiritual money does the same thing, if not more so. So yeah, you may have put off the world. You may have learned a lot of truth, and you may know more than what someone like me being new knows. All right, but someone like me being new, all right, being put with the men of the Lord, all right, we can see already that you are in this for yourself, okay, without natural affection for the truth, without natural affection for the Lord, all right, and His Word. All right, so 2 Timothy 3:3, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good. Now, I've been speaking to Israelites, right? Okay, but now I'm going to tell you, you in the world can listen to this. Okay, so when you start showing your natural affection isn't there, right, that you are truce breakers because you came into this to do the Lord's work. Okay, you came into this to do the Lord's work. You're not supposed to be using the Lord's words for your gain. Okay, so you start false accusing someone who you know, maybe you don't know, all right, but you forgot who you started learning from. Not that you are just supposed to just blindly take their word, all right, but the ones who love the Lord love the brethren, right? And who are the brethren? The ones who do the will of the Father in heaven, which is tell this truth. Why would they want you to go off? Okay? This is all love. All right, but you start wanting to go in your own way, so you start falsely accusing people. All right, but what you're teaching or giving excuse to the world to do, right, is to have the ministry blamed. That's why you get these videos of other nations thinking that whether they're doing it on purpose or not, all right, they start speaking about all the false doctrines from Israelites that are running around out there, instead of even talking about the truth. I have yet to hear, and I could be wrong, right? I have yet to hear these other nations bring up something that GMS told them, or something that they heard GMS say. I have yet to hear someone say this. All right, I heard GMS say this about the scriptures, and I went and looked it up. I took their advice on where to go look and all this and that, and they are just flat out liars. I have yet to hear somebody say that. But what they do is bring up other Israelite groups and their doctrine. All right. And then they start throwing their shit on top of that doctrine. So then GMS has to go and correct the Israelites who may sincerely be wrong and need guidance. They have to approach everything that way. All right. Because even if they aren't sincerely wrong, all right, there might be someone new that hears these lovers of their own selves and think that that's the right way. All right. So they have to correct you in order to not have anyone else be deceived. And then they have to correct the shit that's thrown on top of it by these other nations. All right, that gets kind of vexing, but at the same time, it's not because we don't know that it has to be this way. 1 Timothy 3:1. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. And 2/3 Israelites are a part of these perilous times. These dangerous times. All right. So now let's go down here. We'll go jump down here to 2 Timothy now 3:6. It says, "For this sort are they which creep into houses and lead captive silly women laden with sins, led away with diverse lusts." So this is likened to you telling someone who already has one foot in the world and is just looking for a soothing lie rather than a inconvenient truth, right? You open the door for that when you don't tell the truth. So you lead them away. They start liking your doctrine better because it better suits them and this world. It keeps them 1 foot in and 1 foot out. All right, they think they can half step. They think they can toe the line, and it's all right because here's an Israelite who says this. We have a more strict group that tells the truth because a lot of people think that telling the truth is a threat. All right, when this is supposed to be regular, these things that the Lord told us and warned us about and all this brings life. All right, it adds to your life, but I don't mean your life in a worldly sense. It doesn't add to the worldly part of you. It adds to the spiritual part of you. It brings life. Okay, it does benefit you in this life as far as staying healthy. All right, walking in the Lord's ways, seeing that this is the right way to go. But what I mean is, it doesn't keep you in the world. All right, it starts to pull you away. All right, it starts to make you holy. All right, and it does make you holy. But what you do when you lie, when you are a lover of your own self, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, so on and so forth, and then you become a teacher. All right, it's easy to lead captive these new children. All right, or it's easy to keep people in the world. All right, the only thing that you've taught them really is that they are an Israelite, but they can stay in the world. Okay, this is what people think, man. Okay, for of this sort are they which creep into houses and lead captive silly women, laden with sins, led away with diverse lusts. All right, the pride of life, or the pride of the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, and the pride of life. You're keeping them there. All right, because you aren't fully outside of that. We used to call certain people in this world ask holes. ASKHOLES. All right, it's a play on the word asshole. But we used to call them assholes because they ask you something and you tell them the truth, all right, the undeniable truth, but they find everything and do everything in their power not to go the route of what seemed to be a sincere question, the answer to a sincere question that they had. They go opposite of it. Then why'd you ask the question in the first place? All right, they forgot the reasoning. They forgot why they wanted to know the answer. So they just become assholes, man. They ask you a certain thing and then they just go the opposite way when you tell them the truth. 2 Timothy 3:7, ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth because you're staying in this world. All right, you're an asshole. So you don't fully come to the knowledge of the truth, man. The Lord isn't going to let this truth dwell in a vessel like that. One that's teeter-tottering in this world. All right, do you want to be, and then do you want to be an Israelite? It's not a question of if you want to be or not. You are. I'm talking about for you Israelites. It's not like you can change. Okay? You may not like the fact that you are Israelite because the truth is strict, because the truth is true. Now, that doesn't mean you can just say, I don't want to be the Israelite, and that's that. That might even be a doctrine by now. I'm not an Israelite because I choose not to be. That might be a doctrine now. Let me check this time. Hold on. Okay, that went a while, and I don't know. I was probably ranting too much But Lord willing, I'll come right back with a part 2. I don't even know what I'm gonna title this yet, but we might as well stay here and oh, we do gotta stay in 2 Timothy 3 and 13 3, because the point is in verse 13. So Lord willing, I'll be right back. Hopefully this coming through us sincere and edifying. And with that, all praise to Yahweh, in the name of His Son, Yahweh Shai. All right, in the name of the Holy Spirit. Double honors to my elders, apostles, and the bishops of Great Millstone, otherwise known as GMS, also known as the prophets of doom. These are where I have learned this truth, and these are where I am still learning this truth. And also shalom to the remnant and the elect of Israel. Lord willing, I'm of that number. Lord willing, we'll see you in the next video. Shalom.